Started, ma'am.
Yeah. Shall I start? Because it says you are in a practice session even now, Vinit.
Ma'am, it is already started, ma'am.
Oh, okay, fine. So, good afternoon, everyone. And I welcome you warmly, in fact, welcome you all students who want to join Bennett and their parents who might also be watching this program. Welcome to the School of Liberal Arts, Bennett University. You all must be knowing that Bennett University is founded by Times Group, and Times Group, the group which publishes Times of India and Economic Times, the most trusted news brand in India today. The managing director of the Times Group, Mr. Vinit Jain, is also the chancellor of Bennett University. And once again, some of you might already be knowing that Mr. Jain took over the Times of India group and basically turned it from a newspaper company to a multimedia company. And he has won many awards for that. And it is his vision which has put in the foundation of Bennett University also. You might be interested in knowing that our MD, our managing director, is himself a student of liberal arts. And so he meticulously designed every detail as far as the BA program in liberal arts is concerned. I am the Dean of the School of Liberal Arts. My name is Dr. Alka Parikh. I have done my PhD from Cornell University in development economist, and I have worked in industry, in NGOs, and in academic sector. So I have an experience of almost 30 years by now. I would be basically walking you through the concept of liberal arts. I'm going to do this because liberal arts as a degree is a relatively new degree for India. And not many people still understand what BA in liberal arts can be all about. So let me tell you about it. Professor Om, if you can help me in starting the slideshow, please. So BA in liberal arts is what we are going to talk about. And the second slide, please. Yes. So among the audience, there might be many people and many students who would be facing the similar kind of problems that I've put up over here in this slide. That there would be a student who would say that I like all subjects. I don't know which one to choose because I like all of them. And then there might be somebody else who would say that, is there some way I can find out what I am really good at? I'm not yet very sure about it. And somebody might say that I'm just confused. Somebody would say, I want to do something different. I don't want to go for this general programs that everybody pursues, which is like, BSc or BCom or engineering or something. I want to do something which is different. And to all of them, I would say, welcome to liberal arts. The next slide, please. So why liberal arts? I would like to ask you first this question. Isn't it unfair to ask an 18-year-old to make a choice of a profession and say that you are going to be that throughout your life? You decide now when you are 18. It is very difficult for many of our students to decide what exactly they want to be. That clarity is not yet there. They are too young. And the other problem that I pointed out before, that the student might be good at both arts and commerce. So the student would say, why do I have to compartmentalize myself? Why do I have to do only commerce or only arts? Why can't I do both? So, as I told you, the answer is liberal arts. Because liberal arts allows you to combine different fields. You might take one field, say business or economics as a major, and you might take psychology as a minor, or you might want to take both psychology and political science as a minor. So you are allowed to do what you feel you are interested in, and you are given that freedom, that liberty. And that is the reason why the word liberal arts, because you are given that liberty to choose. Next slide, please. So, education is not compartmentalized when it comes to liberal arts, because you are allowed to explore. You are allowed to explore, and you are allowed to choose your major and minor. But even after that, when you finish your bachelor's, if the program is designed well, you can do your master's in not one subject, but more than one subject. So compartmentalization, closing the doors completely, is something which is not allowed as far as liberal arts is concerned. And that is the reason why some people say that the philosophy of liberal arts is going to be the future of higher education tomorrow. Everybody will be talking about doing education in this way, although we are starting off right now only with a limited number of subjects. Okay, so another thing which liberal arts teaches you is studying a problem from multiple perspectives. So I might find somebody who is poor, and I would say that, okay, fine, I want to do something about the poverty of this person. Let me give some money to this person and things will be all right. And then I come to know that things will not be all right, because this person might belong to a certain caste, certain lower caste, who is not going to be allowed to even enter into a school. How is the poverty going to go away? Or I find that that particular community is actually disliked by the majority of that nation, like it happened in Sri Lanka. And then it is that politics which is actually leading to the poverty of this person. Me giving money in the hands of that person is not going to help. When you study a problem from multiple perspectives, you understand the actual problem as a whole, because problems are not compartmentalized. Problems have their own aspects. And in liberal arts, we make sure that you learn to look at a problem from different perspectives. You look at it as a whole, the holistic approach and holistic solution, both. Okay. And know one thing, the world looks for this kind of interdisciplinary approach to problems now, because the world has also learned the hard way. Because when they did this partial approach, they often failed. And now we as a world civilization are wiser. And there is one more thing also, which is very unique to liberal arts, that liberal arts ensures overall development of your personality. So you are not only taught the theoretical subjects like say politics or economics or business studies or media studies, but you would be asked to study critical thinking, sports, creative arts, programming, many different things, so that you can express yourself, the inner abilities that you have, which is not just one. You are, any human being is a multi-talented human being. And we try to bring out all those talents. That's what liberal arts does. Next slide, please. So how does it work? The way it works in Bennett is that we ask you to take some papers, some 8 papers in a year that you would test. And then you would decide, after taking one course of each of this, whether you want to study certain field as a major, or whether you want to study certain field as a minor. You might take one major and no minors, one major and one minor, and one major and 2 minors also. We give you that liberty. You decide. Okay. At the end of your 3rd year, the way we have designed the program is that if you take one major and one minor, you would have enough number of credits to pursue your masters in any of these 2. So once again, you are not limiting yourself to just one. So say you have done your major in economics, but your minor in say politics, then you might go for your master's in either politics or economics. We ensure that. So at every point, we ensure that you have more than one door open. This is what liberal arts is all about. Next slide, please.
That's it, ma'am. It has only
Yeah.
5
Okay.
slides.
So that is all that was there as far as understanding the concept of liberal arts is concerned. So, Professor Om, you can now just shut down the presentation. Yeah. So now that you have understood what liberal arts is all about, the relevant question that you would ask is that liberal arts is now actually being offered by so many places. Why should we come to Bennett only? What is so special about you? Well, we say that we are special and we say it with a justification. So Professor Om will tell you first. Professor Om is the head of the department in School of Liberal Arts. And so he will tell you about why Bennett University is a good place to come to. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. So for the parents who have joined us in this webinar and the students who are also present here, I fully understand that you all are here because you have some interest in liberal arts. I also understand that there must be several doubts and concerns ongoing in your mind related to the program that you are going to study, and of course, about your future. And this doubt is totally fine. So I encourage you all to ask questions towards the end of this webinar, or maybe even reach out to us directly via emails. My name is Prakash Dwivedi, and I am an associate professor of English literature in the School of Liberal Arts at Bennett University. Although I teach courses in English literature, my research interests cut across cultural studies and environmental humanities. So why to choose liberal arts at Bennett? I would just reiterate some of the fundamental points. Liberal arts, as our dean has already pointed out, is a philosophy of life. And through its multidisciplinary training, students can learn how to bring humanistic angle to solve problems that face society at large. Let me just briefly make you understand what this multidisciplinarity is all about and how liberal arts connect them. Let me do this through a use of a metaphor of a flute. A flute, as we all know, has a number of holes on it, but the player is well trained to tap those disjointed holes in a way that creates rhythm and music. And when this music is created, we all love it. It is soothing, even therapeutic. These different holes can be seen as different disciplines, and the flute player can be seen as the one who is trained in the arts of liberal studies, who knows how to make different disciplines interact with each other for creative purposes and problem solving. To make students understand how different disciplines can be made to interact with each other is an art that one can hardly come across in the various liberal arts schools and departments that exists across India. The fact is, and I put this on record, that not many of them are conversed in its pedagogy. Forget about the understanding about the vision and mission of a liberal arts education. Therefore, I suggest go for a liberal arts program that demonstrates its outlook and practices, and think very carefully on your return on investments before you undertake your future course. Recently, a data was realized by the World Economic Forum, which claims that there would be 1 billion jobs awaiting students by the year 2030. And this has also been reiterated by the CEO of Google and Apple. The question then it raises is, do we have an education system that can cater to the demand? That's precisely the reason we are rallying our program around the theme of, and I will quote and unquote it, preparing India to move with the times. Famous entrepreneurs such as Steve Jobs, Jack Ma, Warren Buffett, and even Mr. Vineet Jain, the Chancellor of Bennett University, have been beneficiaries of liberal arts education. At BU, we emphasize the multidisciplinary approach to learning, both inside the classroom and outside of it, which will be an everyday requirement for future learners, job seekers, entrepreneurs, even leaders. We have incorporated listening, seeing, and doing as important components of our pedagogy. We make our students see the ways different disciplines talk to each other and how liberal arts can cater to the needs of society by offering solutions to solve the challenges that pervade this world. For example, how does a course in psychology helps you to understand social intelligence of a society? Or for instance, what role literature can play in the study of sciences? As we know, science provides us training to create provisions for society. However, the role of liberal arts education is to ensure that we use these provisions in ways that are enabling and responsible. A traditional BA program or a distortedly structured liberal arts program can hardly help you to adapt to the uncertain future ahead. That is why, and I'm just reiterating the point raised by our dean, we have curated our curriculum that moves our students beyond the compartmentalized single discipline model. For example, we have introduced business studies, film studies, computer sciences, and environment studies as part of our curriculum. Even sports occupy greater significance in our curriculum. You get a chance to interact with leading faculty members who have joined us as adjunct faculty in our school. They come from USA, UK, Ireland, Australia, Netherlands, Denmark, and Slovenia. Professor Sebastian Dubinsky is amongst us, and he will be talking very soon to all of you. You are also trained to hone your entrepreneurial skills through the hatchery that Bennett University has in place, and which has already awarded more than 21 crores to a number of innovative ideas that have been pitched in by our students. Our students have already initiated some interesting projects, such as the podcast series, a liberal arts blog, and also have published a few articles. Similarly, we will guide you through the journey of your growth and learning at BU throughout. And you will also find us around you through our strong alumni network and the programs that it organizes throughout, once you have embarked on another journey outside BU. So come, join us, join the School of Liberal Arts, be a part of the rich legacy of the Times Group, and together, I'm sure we will grow and move with the times. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Professor Om. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, fine. So, Professor Om told you some very important distinguishing features, and I just want to add some in a slightly light-hearted manner. But yes, we are one of the rare universities who give scholarships very generously. So if you have scored good marks, you have a big possibility that you will get scholarship over here. Second thing, if you're good at sports, because a lot of the students that I talked to who wanted to join Bennett told me that, ma'am, we are good at sports also. We have a sports trainer who is a PhD in sports. So we would actually train you really well as far as sports also is concerned. And of course, the creative art is going to be taught by some really distinguished professors also. So yeah, and as far as international collaborations are concerned, as Professor Om pointed out, so many nations we are working with, and we would expose you to those professors. We will create opportunities for you so that you can do some research with those professors, maybe by going there or maybe by remaining here, whatever you decide to do. We are liberal arts people. We give you liberty to decide everything. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So these are the things that are the main advantages of joining Bennett. Now, when I was talking to the students, the students who wanted to join in the first year, I realized that there were many subjects that they were very much interested in. And so what we decided was that we invite the entire team of School of Liberal Arts over here, and they will tell you how their subjects are going to be taught to you. And I'll start with the subjects which I find to be the subjects of great interest to the students. So we have Professor Shalini Mittal with us here, someone who is extremely passionate about her subject of psychology. And Professor Shalini Mittal will tell you what kind of spatial pedagogy we use at Bennett to make psychology a very special subject for the students. So, Dr. Shalini Mittal, can you please come?
Thank you, ma'am. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
So first of all, I would like to give everyone, I would like to welcome everyone in today's webinar. And I would like to thank Dr. Alka Parikh for giving me this opportunity to tell students how interesting it is to study about psychology. As we know from what Dr. Om has told us, what Dr. Alka has told us, that it is a well-established fact by now that liberal arts, since the ancient Greek tradition, is considered to be an ultimate mark of an educated person, because it aims to produce a person who is worthy of being free, or liberalis, as the Greeks would put it. A person who's virtuous, a person who's ethical, knowledgeable, and is highly articulate, because this particular program provides wide spectrum of knowledge and skills. And if I talk about psychology, that is one of the most fundamental and traditional liberal arts discipline that falls squarely into the scope of traditional humanities. As the art and science of human and animal behavior, there is no other discipline that is more vital to develop an understanding of human emotions and behavior. And if you take up psychology as a part of the liberal arts course, you will get an exposure of definitely introductory coursework and foundations of psychology. Apart from that, you will also get exposure of more specialized courses in psychology, such as cognitive psychology, social psychology, personality psychology, counseling. And these advanced courses will help you to identify and interpret patterns of behavior. Now, one of the most effective way of studying any discipline, including psychology, is by relating the subject matter to the real life experiences. And to ensure that, what we are going to do is that we are going to put a great emphasis on field work, on research work, so that you have an edge over others in understanding the practical applications of the discipline in the real world. There are also going to be a lot of exciting discussions, movie analysis, story analysis, book analysis, so that by the end of the program, you have a well-rounded intellectual. And psychology is one subject that you will notice that it can be applied directly to any workplace. And when you study psychology, and even if you decide to take up any other discipline for that matter, if you decide to do your majors, say in economics, you will notice that psychology is one discipline that is somewhere applied in all the other disciplines. There is no other discipline, there is no discipline that you can say has no aspect of psychology. So when you have an understanding, when you have a foundation of psychology, you are better able to understand those subjects as well. And this is what we are trying to aim here, that you get an exposure of psychology, not just the basics of it, but the practical applications of it, so that by the end of the program, you can decide whether you want to pursue your majors in psychology. And there are a wide range of possibilities. If you do your majors in psychology, there is a number of career options that you can take up. And I think we will be talking about that in detail in a while. So
Yes,
over to you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Shalini. So, guys, psychology, as she said, is fundamental to human behavior. And but when you pick up a newspaper, there are two subjects which kind of jump out the most strongly from the newspaper, from everyday discussions. One is political science and one is economics. So we are going to be now talking first about political science and international relations, because that's another thing that the world is coming to now, because the globe is becoming smaller as far as the virtual distances are concerned. And so we have among us Dr. Aditya Anshu. Dr. Aditya Anshu specializes in international relations. He has done his PhD from JNU, and he will be telling you about the significance of studying international relations. Yes, over to you, Professor Aditya.
Thank you so much, ma'am. First of all, a very good evening and a warm welcome to all the parents, panelists, and the students who are listening this wonderful webinar. So just to start with, as ma'am has already introduced me, but I'll just add to a point that I did my PhD from JNU, and post that I was working with Government of India as a security research analyst with the National Investigation Agency. Why I am telling this is because, studying political science and IR really helped me on this. So to start with the curriculum here at the Bennett, we find that in political science, we have a paper which is called State Politics in India and State Politics in India and World. So we had introduced this paper just because to make students learn not only about the Indian political system, but as well as a global political system, because world is into the globalization mode. So we thought of making our study as well, making it globalized. Then in this paper, when we move further, we try to study institution, constitutions, policy, and then policy framework analysis. One more important thing that what we teach to our students is research paper writing. And I think all of us do that. So this is very different from other universities, that we try to make them research oriented, policy analysis oriented from the beginning itself. And then we have this international political economy, which itself is a paper. And recently we had introduced globalization and politics series. So this is basically, I teach globalization and politics. There is a professor who teaches globalization and sociology. And then there is a ma'am herself teaches globalization and economy. So what we have done is trying to make this whole idea of studying politics and making it international and global. Coming to the international studies, it is very relevant, and we had tried to put this into our curriculum as well. As we see that the world is growing into the network of global interconnections, and we cannot, we cannot ignore it. So, and this is generally through market, business, migration, social media. The world is connected, maybe global environmental issues, global socio-economic issues. So this is very important. That is why it's very important to study international relations, primarily to focus these kind of questions. If we see the current trend in the world, maybe it is international security, we focus on that, terrorism, trade, wars, human rights, peace building, peacemaking. So what we do is we try to cover all this into the curriculum, so that the students, when they come up with these 3 years, they have the idea of adaptability, that they can adapt to the current situation, reading international relations and other subjects. Because in international relations, you read global economics, you read history, you read international organizations, human rights, cybersecurity, migration. So it makes you very adaptable. When you move forward for masters, it really helps you to have this ability to apply lessons into real life. You develop analytical skills, communication skills, and interpersonal skills. All these by reading, after studying this international relations, and of course, which will lead you to have a multiple career options post that. That might be you will be working for a diplomat or a specialist in the environmental issues, maybe even the human trafficking. Though we will come to this in the later part of the seminar, that why what all options we can have after studying international relations. So I think I'll be happy if any question comes up regarding this.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks so much, Professor Aditya. And now we go over to the person who teaches economics, Dr. Javeria Hajrana. And Dr. Javeria Hajrana is a PhD from Jamia Millia, and she has worked with a lot of research organizations and has done some really rich project research. So she is now going to tell you how she is going to make studying economics very special and unique for you. Yeah, over to you, Professor Javeria.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And hello, everybody, to the students and parents who are listening to us today. I am Dr. Javeria, and I am a student and a teacher of economics. And I would like to start by extending a very warm welcome to everybody who is listening to us today. And economics is a very integral part of the whole study of liberal arts. And there are several reasons why this subject is something which in present times has a very strong and a very integrated presence in every aspect that we observe and we see in the world around us. So there are some points which we highlight at Bennett, and these points are basically integrated to make our students very well prepared for the times that we live in, to understand, appreciate, and tackle current issues that we observe, and also have an eye for how economics and how the things that they learn in the class and in their books can be connected to the policy issues that we observe around us. So the first point that I would like to talk about is that the study of economics helps us to prepare our students for an ever-changing world. So when we look around us, we find that the times that we see, the needs that we have are changing and evolving very rapidly. So we teach economics not just by what is in the textbooks, but we keep on enhancing them by integrating the current issues with what we teach. So economics helps us as people to understand the world around us. It enables students to understand businesses, markets, governments, policy requirements, and how we can essentially improve the economy around us, how we can better respond to opportunities when we see them and that emerge in an ever-changing world. This kind of approach enables students to be well positioned because they not only observe, but they first learn to understand problems, solve those problems, and they learn and enhance analytical skills that allow them to succeed in tackling these different problems. Another point that we highlight is knowledge and skills that will build the employability of the students. Economics, when you start out, economics is something that helps you to make better choices, to recognize alternatives, and to go with the one that is most suited and most required in the present times. It helps to develop critical thinking and problem solving skills also, so that students in whatever, when they look at employability, they are better equipped to make decisions. And over here, we emphasize in relating every topic that we teach with data and analytical techniques. And this is something that directly contributes to the employability of students. If we observe around us, we find that economic students are present in policy discussions, they are present in the industry, they are present in international institutions that are seeking to understand development problems such as climate change. So all these observations add to the fact that data and analytical techniques is something that needs to be integrated from the very beginning into the way we teach students. No matter what students would like to become, no matter what their career choices would be or what the future holds for them, these skills are something that would enable them to understand where their skills lie and to apply those skills once they proceed from the course to either higher studies or even when they wish to get employed. So understanding how decisions are made, how markets work, how rules affect outcomes, and what are the skills that are required from students are some things that we place a lot of emphasis on at Bennett. So these are some of the points that we always keep in mind when we approach teaching of economics, because sometimes students think that economics is a lot of theory. But the truth is that the times we live in now, economics is definitely theory, but it is a lot about skills, about techniques, about data, about observing problems, about enhancing those skills and linking it with how we can solve problems, how we can make this world a better place. The last point I would like to add is initial definitions of economics is something which would always link economics to money or understanding how money works. But the truth is that the present times economics is much more than that. We have got development issues, which are basically something that is a very integral part of economics. We have got environmental issues, which are again a very integral part of economics. We have got policy suggestions, policy dimensions are again something which is a very integral part of economics. So economics is so much more than what than simplistic definitions like economics is about money or understanding how money works. It's a lot about understanding our current issues, developing skills and applying those skills to make this world a better place. And at Bennett, this is something that we start right from the beginning. And like Professor Aditya had said, we encourage our students to undertake research, to be involved in field work, to collaborate with senior faculty members so that they can train under them and understand how you transfer knowledge from the book into practice.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Professor Dwivedi. Now we move on once again to Professor Om Prakash Dwivedi, but this time not as the head of the department, but as a person who teaches English literature. And Professor Om is going to tell you about how studying English literature is something which actually enhances the personality development for a human being, for a student. So over to you, Professor Om.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So as a reader by passion and a teacher by profession, someone who teaches English literature, I just want to emphasize that BU gives you plenty of growth opportunities to create an impact on society, nation, even international impact. While some of my colleague members have already spoken for themselves and the others will speak for themselves, I will be speaking about the relevance and the relevance of literature and the opportunities it could render you. Literature, I must say, is the only subject, I'm not generalizing, but I'm making a statement here, which can help you to become a good reader, even writer. The training that it provides to read between the gaps and silences, to connect the disjointed dots, to live with the unlivable, and to develop a holistic approach to life is what makes this discipline singularly special and engaging. Literature trains you to create stories, and we know well that no matter how trained one is in other disciplines, if one is not good enough in creating stories, chances of tasting success in professional life gets drastically reduced. After all, it is the story through which we connect with the other, with society, with unknown people around us, with unknown organizations. It can provide you opportunities in the field of bureaucracy, teaching, policymaker, writer, and journalist. And literature is something which can keep you evolving. So it is something which keeps your personality ever evolving. There is no full stop to it, if we understood in the form of punctuation marks. So I will stop it here. I will keep it simple because the next professor who is going to speak also happens to be to have been trained in English literature. And I hand it over to our Dean, Professor Alka Parikh, to take it ahead.
Yes, yes, thanks so much, Professor Om. So, folks, we have till now talked to the people who are going to be your full-time faculty members. But we have some adjunct faculty members also, as Professor Om was talking about, who come from other nations than India. And Professor Sebastian is one of them. And Professor Sebastian is going to tell you something that is going to actually add into something that Professor Om talked about, because Professor Om talks about analysis of literature. Professor Om talks about what you learn from it, how you make conclusions looking at the literary works which have been created. Professor Sebastian talks about how to create that literature. So he talks about creative writing. So over to you, Professor Sebastian. we are very happy that you are with us. Professor Sebastian.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here in such a prestigious university, and we're humbled by being a part of the team, even if I'm in Denmark and you're far away. What I want to say is that very briefly, my name is Sebastian Dubinsky. I am an associate professor at the University of Aarhus in Denmark and adjunct professor at the University of Bennett. And I teach French literature and history, and I am also a writer and a poet. And I have published 10 novels in the States, America, and 6 collection of poetry. So creative writing is always a tough one to describe and to present. What is creative writing? Creative writing is a craft. Is learning to master a craft. And question is that why do we need creative writing? What does it bring? Well, I can ask you the question: what does playing music bring you, or why does painting bring you, or any form of pleasure that you get from doing a craft? So creative writing is a craft that gives you skills. And what kind of skills does it give you? It gives you 2 types of skills. It gives you some technical skills, which is how to master your expression, how to be precise in what you mean, or on the contrary, using some poetic aspects to tools in order to express yourself. And that's very, very important, because when you master this, then you can say what you can really express who you are. And the second part, which is not for everybody, and I'm saying that not in a negative way, but it is the pure creative aspect, because creative writing is for 2 sorts of people, 2 kinds of people: the people who want to master the craft, who are interested in mastering the craft, and those who want to create within the craft. And for those who want to create within the craft, what does creative writing bring? It brings you the possibilities to express yourself, but not to express yourself in one single way, but to use all the palettes possible in writing to express yourself. And creative writing is usually linked with prose, but it also can be fiction, it can be theater, it can be diary, a form of diary. There are so many ways to express yourself. So in a way, I think that creative writing has this incredible possibility of having a double identity, of allowing you to have a very interesting hobby, or it can lead to having actually a very interesting job. So thank you very much.
Yes, thanks so much, Professor Sebastian. Thank you so much. So from Professor Sebastian, now we move on to the next faculty member of the Bennett team, who is once again a full-time professor, and she is Professor Koyal Verma. Professor Koyal Verma also has her PhD from JNU, and she is specializing in sociology. She specializes in doing research firsthand. And guys, when you graduate, I want you also to become the kind of people who are not just armchair critics, but who have gone to the ground, who have tried to find out what is the ground truth, and after that, who speaks. So over to Professor Koyal Verma.
Thank you so much, Professor Alka, and a very warm welcome to all of you who are here with us today for the webinar, including parents who may have so many questions, and of course, students, prospective students who are looking at Bennett University and asking us why Bennett University and why liberal arts. So let me start with, giving you an introduction of sociology within the liberal arts. Why do we choose sociology? The simple answer is that sociology helps you to think beyond the common sense. It will help you to understand social issues which are right around the corner everywhere. You look in the newspaper, you open social media, you have information, and excess news, flowing into your lives. And you may ask what to do with so much information. So sociology actually helps you to understand all this information and process this information, not only to, to understand, but also in the future be able to actively contribute towards the production of knowledge. How do you do that? Simply by not using that sociological imagination that we in our class at Bennett University so proactively do. We engage with very, very interesting social issues, which may relate with issues of caste, of class, of gender, of race, of ethnicity. These are some of the questions that are all around us. And there is so much information. And many times, we think that we all understand society. What is there to understand about society anyway? Because I am an active member, I live in this society. So what do I need to learn about society? So we actually at Bennett University and in the School of Liberal Arts help to understand sociology not through common sense, but through the power of an imagination, a sociological imagination that we develop in the classroom. And we don't just talk about social issues in the classroom, but we also very actively develop a critical understanding for those very social issues that are bothering us today, whether it is social issues of climate change, of devastation, of exploitation, and so many other issues that you read about. So sociology helps you to not only just understand the social issues that are around you in society, but also engage with them proactively to make not only you a better person, but also to contribute towards building up a much more creative, better world. And some of the things that I can help you understand that you proactively do as students by engaging with sociology and learning sociology is like, well, for example, today we are talking about SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. What are these sustainable development goals that UN has given us towards 2030? Eradicating poverty, eradicating hunger, understanding your society, making it more resilient. So sociology helps you to understand your society and also contribute towards that society by engaging with all these social issues that we in a classroom have various activities, discussions, debates, even films that we watch together and we review. We are able to review books that that are bestsellers today. What are those books really telling us? How do we read those books? What are those books really helping us to understand, and how can we become more critical by developing our ability to understand things differently from any other? So liberal arts at Bennett University helps you to understand society better and think differently. So you are going to really enjoy your liberal arts at Bennett University, let me tell you that. So over to you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Extremely well put, Professor Koyal Verma. Thank you so much. And now we come to the discipline, which is the most basic when it comes to thinking, the most basic, and that is philosophy. I mean, somewhere we all have to be philosophers if we want to be good human beings also. So now Professor Saurabh will tell you how philosophy actually encompasses all the fields. So over to you, Professor Saurabh. I'm not introducing him in very great details because we are slightly running out of time. Yeah, Professor Saurabh.
Yeah, thank you very much, ma'am. I welcome all the parents and the students who are watching this webinar. And I'll start with this fundamental question, as Professor Parikh has suggested, that we have to be how the philosophy combines all the subjects. And one of the very simple example, we can understand that the highest degree which is allotted in the subject, in every subject, PhD, which is called as the Doctor of Philosophy, contains the philosophy. So this means that whenever we do the fundamental thinking, in any subject, be it sociology, economics, political science, we ask a fundamental question, then it becomes a philosophical moment. And now connecting the philosophy to the liberal arts education, I will just suggest, I will just take up what Professor Om was referring to, a report that there is going to be the lot of jobs, but in the future, but our education system is ready for that? Do we have the adequate training to our education system has this kind of a critical thinking and the problem solving approach? So this is something which the philosophy has to offer, and which it has been doing it throughout the history of philosophy, whether we take the Greek philosophy or in our very Indian tradition, we take the Nyaya philosophy or Vedanta. So they are all trained themselves in how to distinguish the good argument from the bad argument. What is the difference between the fallacy and the error? So these are the fundamental kind of the questions which are reflected before we engage into any kind of the debate. So philosophy helps us to distinguish between the thoughts and thinking. Having the thought does not qualify us to have the thinking, because thinking has certain kind of the logic, rigor, parameters, which we study in the course which has been designed in the Bennett, which is logic. In the logic, we engage into the debate both from the Western and the Indian perspective. And we analyze the various kind of the argument, inductive, deductive. And also also there is the philosophy addresses the question that what does it mean to exist? How do we live? Because that is the very fundamental question of the liberal arts, which is asked by all the philosophers from the east to the west. What does it mean to the live? What does contain the good life? And we also, so especially in my research and in the courses, what we are also trying to do, that this ancient fundamental question is also becomes more important when we compare it with the today, because we are spending more and more time with the AI, WhatsApp, and in the social media. So what should be the ethics of the interacting with the social media AI apart from that? So that is why the question of the ethics is becoming very important and relevant. And how do we do that? How does the career prospects in philosophy related to the emerging field of the AI and all that we will discuss in the few moments. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you so much, Professor Saurabh. We have one more adjunct faculty whose video is there. Because of the time difference, he could not actually join us. But since the time is running out, I would suggest that first we would just quickly look at the question which would be there in your mind, that after BA Liberal Arts, what? So I would suggest that everybody who is there on this panel just talks in like 2 to 3 sentences about it. And let me start first. So my advice, guys, is that if you are really serious about pursuing any of the subjects of liberal arts, maybe media studies, maybe even management studies, or maybe economics or psychology or philosophy or whatever, you have to have masters. The world does not recognize a bachelor's degree as a very important degree as far as any of these fields are concerned. You are going to be taken seriously only if you do have a postgraduate degree. So after BA, just find out what is your strength and pursue that in your master's. And Bennett would have prepared you very well to go for that master's in such a way that you would create a mark as a scholar, as a professional. So that is what I want to say about it. And now we will just start with the same order that we went off with, but please not more than 2 to 3 sentences. So we start with Dr. Shalini Mittal and psychology.
Thank you, ma'am. So first of all, I would like to tell all the students and all the parents who have joined that principles of psychology are readily applied to virtually all the work environments. And but as you pointed out, that it's very important to pursue higher education, not that they will not get any job opportunity immediately after the undergraduate program, but it is recommended that they go for advanced courses, they go for more specialized programs in psychology, after which they will always have the opportunity to either work as counselors in schools, in MNCs, in NGOs, They can work with organizations that are working with specialized and marginalized populations as researchers for various organizations, as clinical psychologists, academicians, consultants, and the interdisciplinary exposure that they will get as a part of a liberal arts program that will allow them to explore the options of working probably in the field of HR or behavioral economics, things like that. So at the end of the 3 years, we can be sure that they are going to be prepared for a wide range of career opportunities, depending on what choices they have made along the way.
Okay, great. Professor Aditya Anshu.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So I'll just be very brief. A degree in international studies with politics as a paper would open up job perspectives in very prestigious fields, various prestigious fields. One could be as a diplomat, where the students who maintain this degree with the bachelor's and master's in international relations, they can be a diplomat and represent the nation's interest abroad in terms of politics, trade, consular service. Young scholar in international relations can always have a first-hand experience, as I had when I interned with Embassy of India in Washington, D.C., US. So that was a great to work upon. Then, of course, would be intelligence analyst. A degree in a master's degree in international relations can help getting a job in prestigious homeland security, nation security departments. I too was, before joining academics, I was with Ministry of Home Affairs, as I said, and this really helped me, my degree in international relations. So I helped them with report writing, data analyst, and then evaluating results. So this another would be policy analyst, where one can work with multinational companies, media houses, research houses to become a policy analyst with a degree in international relations and politics. And then, of course, being a lobbyist, which is very much coming up in this global world, where a varied interest in global trade deals. Most of the lobbyists, they work for country and the country capitals. So this is one, and another would be communication specialist, where non-profit organizations such like World Vision or Red Cross, they do hire people with masters and bachelors and masters in international relations, and the course curriculum which they have, it's almost the same which we are having. So this gives a added benefit for the Bennett and the Bennett students. So overall, international students, students of international studies, have this wide range of career options, prepared with new innovative ideas in the social science. So I would just say that come and join us, be the part of ever-growing journey of us with Times Group, which has its discipline character very much international, and we can move forward along with you as well. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Professor Javeria Hazrana.
Yes, ma'am. So thank you, ma'am. This is one topic which is extremely crucial for students and parents, and very important for us as well. So I will start by reiterating the point that Dr. Alka made, that since most of the courses in liberal arts, they are essentially academic courses, though there is a very strong employability factor in it, but it is always desirable to have at least a master's degree, so that you can build upon and enhance the knowledge that you have acquired in your bachelor's program. Once you have got a master's degree, there are several places where students with a strong background in economics can be absorbed and where they can apply. So first and foremost, there are a lot of international and national level institutions that require people who have an understanding and the skills of economics. Over here, students who have strong skills in analytics, strong skills in dealing with data can apply, but even students who are more concerned with the theoretical thinking, the critical thinking of economics are required. So you can apply to a host of national and international institutions, and these institutions cover a wide variety of topics. You have got environment, you have got development, and many more topics are covered under these. Apart from this, industry or MNCs also require people who have a background in economics, and that is a place where we see an increasing number of economics students moving if they would like to apply for the industrial sector. Another place where students can apply is academics. So you can, if you're passionate about teaching, you would like to go for teaching at school level or even beyond that, you can move to that arena and enhance your skills and apply there. So economics is something, to summarize, where economics is a subject which is required a lot in institutions, in industry and economics. Students can start by interning and learning as research analysts, research associates with senior policy members. They can start by training with senior researchers and go for careers that are solely concerned with research. They can also go to roles which require more about report writing, data analysis without having to apply any kind of technique. So you can just look at the data, you can go into report writing. So there are a host of opportunities that are available.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'll just add to that list very quickly. Banks, you can go to, you can act as international consultants, and you are going to be needed even in think tanks, then in NGOs. So there are a lot of people who require economists. The list is very long. We can't really cover everything, and that's why we are kind of falling short. I'm speaking this because I'm also an economist. From here, we would move on to Professor Prakash Dwivedi.
Yes, so I will keep it very short. I mean, in terms of the employability skills that literature offers to the students, is that it can open up doors for bureaucracy, for teaching, of course, policy making, to become a writer, and maybe even a journalist. And just to add to what Professor Alka Parikh had foregrounded already about the employability skills and the need to go for higher education. Once you are at Bennett, rest assured that we have plenty of international collaborations at place, which will help you to carve out your future paths. So that's it from my side. Now you can pass it over.
Thanks. Yeah, Professor Sebastian, creative writing, is it only a hobby or it can fetch some jobs?
No, actually, there are many more jobs than one can realize. I mean, of course, as Professor said, there is teaching, there's research, there's journalism, but there's also screenplay writing, there's also copy editing, editor, and also, why not, to become a bestseller writer? Who knows? Thank you very much.
Yes, very much so. Content writing is becoming very important as far as India is concerned. And even in advertising and all, they want people who are really good at creative writing, because it requires a lot of creativity to even come up with advertising campaigns. So yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right. So creative writing is also something which is very important. Dr. Koyal Verma.
Yes. So there are, as a sociologist nowadays, all the UN organizations are looking for sociologists. Like, for example, UNDP, UNESCO. I myself have worked on number of projects with UNESCO, with the World Food Program. My colleagues are working with so many think tanks, of course, which are hiring, international organizations that are hiring. In fact, even young, researchers who they want should travel to, places like Africa, to Asia, different countries where, you can help with research. So research and UN organizations really look for sociologists. Apart from that, of course, as we are saying, academics is one of the most lucrative jobs. And as you can see from, all of us, we are all really, really happy in academia, and it really offers you a great amount of freedom. So I would, in fact, encourage you all to, of course, you pursue your masters after your graduation. Look for academic jobs as well. And of course, I would like to say that, a lot of creative fields open up, like film studies, films, journalism. A lot of my friends are actually filmmakers, photographers. So a lot of creative fields actually open up because you get more sensitive to understanding social issues and so on. So these are some of the jobs. Of course, there are so many, but because of the crunch of time, I wouldn't, make it a very long list. So this is, in short, some of the jobs you can expect.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Professor Saurabh Dodaria.
Thanks, ma'am. And I'll also be very brief. And because as philosophy helps us developing the creative and the critical skills, so it opens up the field, it prepares for the job market, which is available like in the field of the bureaucracy, writing, and also in the social sector and the development sector, which especially emphasize on the perspective building. So these, like I myself worked in the Lean Premji Foundation and many kind of the NGOs where actually the where the perspective building is required, and also it also helps to engage with the fundamental kind of the research, like in the field of the AI and machine learning. The importance of ethics is very much growing. I myself is collaborating with a project with Indian Institute of Science on the ethics of AI. So in that way, it opens up a vast field and prepares for the job market. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Thanks so much, everybody. And now, as I told you, we have a short video of 4 to 5 minutes waiting for us, where one of our adjunct professors is going to be telling us about something that none of us over here on the panel could talk about, which is about filmmaking. So, Professor Om, if you could please play that video for us. I can't hear Professor Om.
Just a minute. Okay.
Hello, my name is Alexander Andreas Wansborough. I'm an adjunct professor at the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences at Bennett University. My interests include social media. I've written a book on the topic, published by Bloomsbury, but also film and cinema. For a number of years, I've worked with the Sydney Underground Film Festival, running a conference with them on the relationship between cinema and digital media. I've also helped to adjudicate which films will be shown at the festival. I'd like to briefly sketch the enduring importance of cinema. In some respects, film seems to be dead. On a literal level, most feature films are paradoxically no longer shot on celluloid film, but instead on digital technology. Every year, there are films making it into major film festivals shot on this thing, on a smartphone of some kind. The famous filmmaker Steven Soderbergh now shoots exclusively on an iPhone. Cinema, then, is like a contagion. It spreads and mutates and infects us all. So even if film is dead, cinematic language is expanding, from television to streaming services, Facebook and YouTube, to have mercy on us all, TikTok. The language of cinema is everywhere. Television was meant to kill cinema, but instead it ushered in an age of widescreen. Film studios wanted to create an experience not available on the television screen. And cinema remains a vital art form, but its language is essential to understanding our contemporary mediascape. If you want to be a documentary filmmaker or journalist or social media content creator, then you must at least implicitly understand the evolving language of cinema, and it would help to know a little bit about its history. Even small businesses will often release video content. Further, cinema is not detached from other art forms or indeed other forms of knowledge and inquiry. It has had a profound effect, for example, on contemporary art. One need only look at an artist like Cindy Sherman, whose photographic works owe so much to cinema. Think of her untitled, mysterious film stills, which evoke Hollywood films that in fact never actually existed. Cinema has also influenced philosophers, including philosophers of mind, in trying to understand how people think and remember pictorially. Moreover, as film theorist Barbara Creed reminds us, cinema was born around the same time as psychoanalysis. She contends that Sigmund Freud drew on cinema to make sense of what he called screen memories. If you want to be a novelist, it's worth remembering that most contemporary novels and literature have been influenced, not always consciously, by cinema's ability to cut between times and locations, to, as it were, offer, in a sense, close-ups on events and even for way characters are described, for movement of eyes and so on. So much of that has been heavily influenced by cinema. In the era of fake news, it has never been so necessary to come to terms with cinematic language's ability to deceive and manipulate, but also to enlighten. It's for this reason that I think studying cinema is just so important. And of course, studying social media and the relationship between film and social media is just so significant today. Thank you so much, and it's an honor to join Bennett University.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And with this, we are ending our session today, but I'm sure you have lots of questions. Feel free to write to any one of us. Our email addresses are also available on the website, or you can reach us through our admissions team. But please reach out to us to ask the questions. And now, you know, every expert that we have in the subject that you are interested in. So you can actually be writing to anyone whom you feel like writing to directly. Yes. So we look forward to hearing from you. We promise that there will be a reply, and we hope that you will be here to join us when we start our classes in September. Welcome to School of Liberal Arts, Bennett University. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Seb. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Ma'am, do we need to stay behind or can we leave?
No, I think, Vinit, it says live.
Mr. Vineet?
Vinit? Vinit, are you there? Okay, I suggest we all leave the meeting.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good evening, everyone. Have a great
Thank
evening.
you. Thank you, ma'am.